Hello, friends. Well, time for another Dear Burt. Dear Burt, number 13, lucky number 13. Let me get the picture behind me before we begin. Some of you enjoy my photographic work and art. This one is a pure photograph, although I did paint it in the sky. I took it in New York, in Chinatown or Little Italy. They're right next to each other there. I kind of got a kick out of it. It was a lot of traffic, not quite as much as I've shown here. I kind of manipulated that a little bit. I got a kick when I saw the little Chinese kid scratching his head looking at all the cars. Park here. Yeah, where? Okay, let's get into some questions here. Fasi asks about the new moon. It's my understanding that the new moon phase is good to get rid of negative energies and habits. Well, I don't know where you got that from. Not from me, certainly. The new moon is for programming. Now, the idea behind the new moon is that there's a tremendous pull. The new moon, of course, is when the Earth is here, the moon is here, and the sun is here. So they're lined up. That would make for the strongest gravitational pull. So much so that during the new moon, there's the highest tides, the neap tide. During the new moon at certain periods. The moon has this tremendous energy, enough to literally lift the oceans of the world. A friend of mine, a veterinarian who works in the Midwest, one of the jobs that he does is dehorning cows. He cuts the horns so they don't gore one another. And he said he won't do that during the new moon because they bleed more. Well, I'd never heard that before. And I don't suppose doctors worry about the new moon. There's so much equipment that they have to stop bleeding. But I kind of thought about that. And one of our great principles, the principle of correspondence, that states as above, so below, as below, so above. So the way I read that is as it is on the physical plane, so it is on the mental plane. And of course, the spiritual plane is the great mystery. But if you understand somewhat the mental plane, you can get a glimpse of the spiritual. As it is on the mental, so it is on the spiritual. All right, if there's a pull on the physical plane, and we know that there is, then chances are there's also a pull on the mental plane. Now, when you are programming, what you're doing basically in almost any technique that you're using, you're closing your eyes and you're imagining the end result of your program. In other words, you're sending out an energy in hopes that it will attract a response. Well, during the new moon, if this pull is taking place, then it's helping you send out that energy. So when you're doing your programming, now that doesn't mean that you have to program only during the new moon, but if you have a special program, then you might want to do that during the waxing of the new moon. The waxing of the new moon, that means that in the, let's say the 24-hour period before the height of the new moon. Now, how do you know that? Well, it's in almost every calendar. It's in your daily newspaper. It's easy to find out when the new moon is. Now, I'm not saying you can't program at any time. You can. But if you have a special program or if things aren't working for you, do some programming during the 24-hour period before the height of the new moon. Okay, I hope that answers your question somewhat, Fasid. Then we have Ron Dack says, please tell us more about Qigong, especially how to do the wave of goodness. I've been waiting patiently and watching your blogs. I want to learn the wave of goodness technique. So please can you share it with us? I'm learning, well, wave of goodness couldn't be simpler. It's a Qigong technique. Now, Qigong in its basic form, which simply means energy manipulation. That's what Qigong means. Qi is energy. Gong is working at or manipulation. So, what is the wave of goodness? Actually, this is the wave of goodness. Now, that didn't seem like much, and I don't know that it did anything because my intention wasn't there. I just did it. When you have an intent, that energizes your wave of goodness. Let me show you. Those of you who are watching this right now who have any problem, those of you who are watching this right now who are in any pain, just watch this. Because my intention now is to wipe away your pain, is to wipe away your immediate problem with the wave of goodness. I'm going to do what I just did, just wave at the eye of the video that I'm making right now. But there's a lot of energy that's going to come through. So my intention is to help you with your pain, to get rid of your pain, to help you with your problem, to get rid of your problem. And I'm going to do it with a wave of goodness. And that's all that my intention is to do. And so here is the wave of goodness for you. And that's all there is to it. Those of you who were relieved of a pain, you might want to comment on the blog. But basically, Ron, that was the wave of goodness. Romeo says, a question, Burt. Am I the center of my universe? If I am, is the existence of my doppelganger connected to my consciousness? Will they continue to exist when I die? If I am not, will my consciousness continue to or get reborn in another dimension? Or will I just cease to exist? No, you won't cease to exist. You are existing right now in an infinite number of universes. Infinite. So whatever you can imagine, you are. But you might say, well, but I don't know that I am. Well, you know something? Think about this. When you were 2 years old, you were the same person you are now. You didn't have the experience. You didn't have the maturity. But it was you. You know, you change pretty much every 7 years. From 1 to 7, your thought processes are different than they are from 7 to 14. The 14-year-old can't really relate to the 7-year-old, nor can the 14-year-old relate to the 21-year-old or the 28 or the 35 or the 42 or whatever, or the 80-year-old for that matter. Am I the same person that I was when I was 5 years old? Of course I am. Can I relate to that 5-year-old? Not necessarily. Any more than I can relate to the me, the great soul, the oversoul of me, that exists in a 1,000, a million, a trillion, a decitillion different universes. There is no death. Because according to one of our great principles, the principle of rhythm, when something dies, something is born. Always. That's a principle. Everything is cyclical. When something leaves, something begins. I was hoping to get into one more. Let me get one more here. Paul is also asking about the new moon. Well, I hope I've done that. And also, he says, during our all programming meditations, do we have to turn our eyes about 45 degrees? No, you don't have to turn your eyes anyway. Just close your eyes or leave them open. It doesn't matter. However, if you believe that you have to turn them up 45 degrees, you better do it. But it's not necessary. I've never found that necessary. Since I live in Perth, are you thinking of coming here for your seminar? Well, I hadn't been. I just did a seminar in Los Angeles, and we'll be talking about that in a few months. You'll be able to get a DVD of my entire seminar. Also, Paul asks, the Universal Bank Meditation, do I have to meditate the same scene again and again and again and again, or can I just do it once? All of your programming, you only have to do it once. You know, if it's going to work, it's going to work. It's like buying a lottery ticket. Some people buy thousands of them. If you're going to be lucky, one is enough. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I'm going to stop now. Hope to see you next week. I'll have 2 videos for you next week, and then Thanksgiving is coming. We should have a nice surprise for you. So thank you very much. Burt Goldman signing off. This is the end of Dear Burt 13. Thanks for watching.